You can't hate yourself into a version you love. This is a saying I heard once and it really stuck with me, but is that actually true? Well, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about how self-love, not hate, is the real catalyst for leveling up and becoming your dream self, and how to start cultivating self-love. And not in like a super woo-woo, broad and general kind of way, but like actual practical tips that you can start implementing right after you walk away from this video. Hello friends and welcome back. If you're new here, my name's Jillz and I help women step into their power, tap into their divine feminine, and become their best self. So if that's something you want to do, you should subscribe and stick around. So when we want to improve ourselves and become a better version of ourselves, so often this stems, unfortunately, from hate. From us not liking ourselves. And I get it. We think that if we hate ourselves, then that's going to inspire us to make a change. And it can. I'm not going to deny that fact. It can. For example, if you hate yourself because you feel like you're overweight and you're not strong enough, you need to get more toned and skinny, that self-hate and anger can push you to go to the gym, work out, eat less junky food. And you may eventually lose that weight and get more toned. You may, quote, arrive at that destination. But what happens when you get there? Most of the time you'll go, oh, well, my tummy could be flatter, or my nose could be cuter, or my smile could be prettier. Because even if your body looks better, that self-hate is a habit and a cycle that we get ourselves in. If it's not this, it's another thing. There's always something that we can pick apart about ourselves. You may get what you want or change what you want about yourself, only to realize that what was supposed to make you happy isn't really making you that happy after all. And you don't even know why. A person with that inner anger and self-hate is never satisfied. No matter what happens, no matter what changes occur, there will always be more problems. And just think about how much bad energy and stress comes from those feelings of hate and anger. That energy just completely drains you. And also when you do tend to make changes inspired from a place of self-hate, we're more likely to do them in unhealthy or unsustainable ways. So think about the girl who desperately wants to be skinny. When it's inspired from self-hate, she will likely severely limit her calories and force herself to go to HIIT workout classes 7 times a week because that's what's going to get her the quickest results. She doesn't care about health, she doesn't care about sustainability, she doesn't care about how she actually feels. All she cares about is arriving at the destination. But do you think that that's actually the best approach? No, she's probably going to develop some health issues from how poorly she's treating herself, and her weight likely will probably fluctuate back and forth for many years to come. The point is that self-hate does not create the environment to step into a better version of yourself, especially for the long term. A foundation of negativity usually does not lead to positive outcomes. Instead, self-love is the foundation for real, lasting, successful change. Self-love is how you create your dream self in your dream life. And you might think like, well, if I just loved and accepted myself as I am, then I wouldn't ever want to improve or change anything. I just sit on the couch and eat cupcakes all day. But really? Do you actually think that that's true? Do you think someone who deeply loved themselves would allow their body to just wilt away? Would someone who deeply loved themselves allow themselves to eat junky fast food every single night? No, they would be like, I freaking deserve better. I deserve to eat nourishing foods. I deserve to feel good in my body. I deserve to be healthy. I deserve to live a long time. Would someone who deeply loves themselves allow themselves to stay in a toxic relationship? Would someone who deeply loves themselves allow themselves to keep living a life they hate and keep working a job that makes them just so angry they want to rip their eyes out? No. Self-love creates self-respect and the standards for what you accept in your life. Self-love is what causes you to push for things that are good for you and that you deserve. Once you truly love yourself, you start to clear the way for that new path to begin, and you kind of are able to get rid of that energetic junk and limiting beliefs that was holding you back. The minute your habits, your actions, behaviors shifts from doing things out of hate for yourself to doing things out of love for yourself, everything starts to change. I'm gonna ask you a question. What feels worse to you? What feels heavier to you? I'm eating healthy food because I'm too fat and ugly and I need to lose weight. Or I'm eating healthy food because I love my body and I love nourishing it. The latter feels so much better in our body. Like the energy is completely different. The first one is just like heavy and stressful and filled with lack and anger. We don't become the best version of ourselves by hating ourselves into it. Again, you might get to that outcome you're looking for, but there's a good chance that 1, it's temporary and it won't last, and 2, you'll get there but you're just as miserable. Is the highest version of yourself miserable and angry? No, she's not. Robert Holden said, all positive change starts with self-acceptance. No amount of self-improvement can make up for a lack of self-acceptance. So what if instead of trying to mold yourself into a version that you feel like you can finally love, what if you did it the other way around? What if you committed to fully loving yourself right now as you are so that the dream version of you could come through? So let's talk about self-love and how to cultivate it so we can become that dream version of ourselves and feel at peace with our life while we do so. Now, the first point I want to make though before I get into the actual real tips is a mindset that you have to recognize. And that is that you don't have to love your current reality to love yourself. You can hate your bad habits, but that doesn't mean that you need to hate who you are. And there's a very big difference between hating the way that you are showing up right now versus hating the essence of your being. All I'm trying to get you to recognize is that there's a difference there. There's a separation there, and you have to start being able to separate the two. This in and of itself, just having that clarity can do massive things for your self-love and self-worth. Now let's move more into the practical self-love tips. So if you are someone who is just so far down the self-love scale, like there is just nothing there anymore, if you're majorly struggling, then this is for you. First, start not by focusing on yourself, but by focusing on other people. Focus on giving love to the other people in your life, to the animals in your life, even the plant in your living room, literally anyone, anything. Focus on getting back in touch with that feeling of love by first giving it away. We have to get connected again to that feeling of love and compassion. And sometimes this is just so much easier to do when you are putting that energy onto someone else or something else. The point is just to allow yourself to start feeling love again, to reactivate that feeling inside of you, so you can start getting familiar with it. So before you try to force yourself to feel all of that self-love where it just feels so foreign to you, start by giving it to others, authentically giving it to others. Make that feeling a part of your life, whether it's to your friends, your partner, your parent, your little animal friend. Maybe it's the cashier at the grocery store because he was just so nice and chipper. Or maybe it's you sending love to the flowers at the flower store because they're just so pretty. Once you start to feel those feelings towards others and can easily stir up that feeling of love, self-love will start to become a whole lot easier and a whole lot more natural. Not everyone will need to do this step, but this is for the girls who just feel so disconnected from their heart. When self-love feels impossible, give love away first. Next up is something that I actually heard about when I was watching one of Anna Akana's videos on self-love, and I wanted to share it. And it's basically this concept of taking the love languages, knowing which love language is yours and practicing that love language on yourself. So there's 5 love languages. There's quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, gifts, and acts of service. Which one are you? Let me know. So for example, my love language is quality time, and actually something that I've always done to show myself love is I like to spend time with myself and do things that make me happy. So this could be like a hot bath at night, or taking myself to go get a smoothie, like a little smoothie date during the middle of the day, or on a Friday night going to bed alone and early so that I can sit and read and journal, or maybe watch some of my favorite shows. So if your love language is words of affirmation, you can give yourself affirmations, positive loving self-talk, hyping yourself up, or journaling positive affirmations. If your love language is physical touch, you can do self-massage, or even pay to go get a massage. I feel like that's all still the same thing. Or there's exercising, stretching, dry brushing, skincare, all of that. If your love language is gifts, buy yourself a little something every now and then. It doesn't have to be big, it can be small, like some fresh flowers. Or maybe it's a new workout set because you've been working really hard on your exercise and fitness and you're proud of yourself. Or maybe it is something bigger that you've been eyeing for a really long time. If your love language is acts of service, this could be like making your bed, tidying up the place, decluttering. But I feel like this could also be outsourcing tasks that will help you a lot. So this could be hiring someone to come to your house once a month and clean your whole house. Like if you love acts of service, giving yourself that gift is going to mean a whole lot to you. So if there's anything that you can outsource to help you feel more calm, more grounded, more relaxed, more at peace, more taken care of, that can go a really long way. Now, personally, I think that we should be giving ourselves all the different kinds of love languages, but whatever your main love language is, that's something that I think that you can't miss. I think this is just a really practical way that we can show ourselves love. But also, I thought this was super interesting. It's a little unrelated, but it's really interesting. So apparently someone's toxic trait can be highly correlated to our love language. So it's kind of like the opposite. So for example, if your love language is quality time, your toxic trait might be that you isolate yourself. Or if your love language is words of affirmation, then you might be really, really mean to yourself or berate yourself in your head. Or maybe your toxic trait is that you lash out at others and you can be very keen on using words to hurt people or even giving people the silent treatment. If your love language is physical touch, your toxic trait might be that you withhold physical touch from the people you love when you are angry or mad at them. If your love language is gifts, your toxic trait might be overspending or impulse spending. If your love language is acts of service, your toxic trait might be refusing to ask for help or procrastinating. Something to think about. Let me know if that resonates with you. I just found that that was really interesting and quite accurate. Now, this next technique was a self-love game changer for me personally. So, okay, I want you to visualize this. Visualize your 6-year-old self, 8-year-old self. Visualize yourself as a little girl, whatever age immediately comes to mind, and just visualize her in front of you right now. How would you talk to her? How would you want to treat her? You would naturally want to give her so much love. You'd want her to feel safe and loved, and you just want her to be happy. Think about how much you want her to feel that love. Think about how much you want her to know that she's worthy and amazing and beautiful as she is. Your little delicate childlike self. Okay, now I want you to imagine yourself as an old woman, 70 years old, 80 years old. And I want you to imagine her, that older version of yourself, looking at you now, looking at you in the present right now. Think about how she wants you to feel. She wants you to feel those exact same things. She would want to give you so much love. She would want you to know that you are so deserving. She would want you to live your life to the fullest. She would want you to feel worthy, but more than anything, she would just want you to feel loved. Your 80-year-old self would want to give present day you so much love. That love and compassion you have towards your 6-year-old self is the exact same love and compassion that your 80-year-old self would want to give present day you. She sees you as this young little delicate thing. And I use this approach all the time to shift my mindset and see myself differently. How would she want me to feel right now? How would she want me to feel about myself? That 80-year-old version of yourself exists, and she's watching you live your life, and you have to start loving on yourself and treating yourself the way she would want to do that for you. I find that sometimes it's a little bit easier to think about it this way when that love is coming from another person, even though that person is you. Now, along these same lines, think about your highest self, who obviously clearly loves themselves, or else that wouldn't be your highest self, right? Think about that version of yourself. Think about her. Whoever that is to you, think about her. Okay, she is in charge. She is the one who runs the show, and she is the one who gives direction. You defer to her lead. If there's a decision you need to make, you ask her and you do it. If the question is, what should I focus on today? Ask her and she will tell you, and it will likely be an immediate response. Or even if you're deciding between Italian food or Thai food, you can ask her. Multiple times a day, you can ask yourself, what would she do right now? How would she feel about herself right now? How would she talk to herself right now? You don't know if you should stay up late working or go to bed early? You can ask her. She'll tell you. Don't ask yourself, ask her and follow her lead. Self-love is not just the way we feel about ourselves, but it also shows up in the decisions we make and the way we choose to live our life. And once you put her in charge, your highest self, you just naturally start living in a way more aligned with self-love. And over time, you start to become her. It might feel like two different people at first, but eventually you start to melt together. And this is essentially becoming your own parent. Like, think about your parents. When they told you to go to bed at 9 p.m., it wasn't because they wanted you to be really sad. It's because they wanted you to get good rest and they wanted you to be healthy and have a nice, wonderful day tomorrow. If your parent took away a huge bag of candy you were eating, it's not because they wanted to make you cry, but because they didn't want you to completely destroy your body from the inside out. That direction and leadership from your parents, as long as they were healthy, of course, was for your own good, even sometimes when you didn't like it in the moment. And you can think about the highest version of yourself kind of like a parent figure, and you can follow her lead. Sometimes the best thing for you will be a bubble bath and an iced coffee. And sometimes the best thing for you will be saying no, having boundaries, and being disciplined with yourself. That is true self-love, being able to balance both sides. And that's where she comes in handy, because she can tell you what you need. And this is honestly a really underrated life hack for staying in your feminine energy too, because the feminine energy is that energy that kind of leans back, right? You're letting her take the lead. And I mean, it's you, but it's not you, it's her. It helps you to stay more in that receiver energy. So I challenge you as you go about your day, ask her what to do. Ask her how to handle a situation. Ask her how to take care of yourself. Ask her how you should treat yourself. She will give you an answer, but just make sure that you actually follow it. She will tell you what you need to know. Seriously, go do this after this video. Let her guide you, and you will notice a massive shift in how you feel in your life, how you feel in your body, and how you feel with yourself. Now, we can't talk about self-love without also bringing up our self-talk, because we all have that inner mean girl in us that likes to come out sometimes and tries to tear us down. Whenever negative thoughts come into your head, the best thing that you can do is, instead of trying to like resist it and push it out, you simply let them be. Like, you will naturally notice them and you can acknowledge them, and then you could simply let them go, let them pass, and keep doing whatever it is you were doing. Sometimes when you try to resist something so hard, you actually keep perpetuating more and more of it. Like, if I tell you don't think of an elephant right now, I know for a fact that you are thinking of an elephant. You can't not, because that's just how our brain works. So the point is, don't try to not be mean to yourself, because then you end up still attracting that into your life, into your brain, because you're bringing attention to it. But when a mean thought does pop in, it's okay to notice it, but then let it go. Not react to it, not try to resist so hard. And the more and more that you don't react so hard to the negative self-talk that does come into your head, the more that you not let it control you and dictate the way that you live your life, the less and less of that inner mean dialogue you will start to have. We also have to realize how much the state of our body and our physical health can affect our brain and our thoughts and the way we view ourselves, and how much it can darken our thoughts. Like, for example, when we aren't feeling well, let's say we are fighting the flu or something, think about how your mind tends to feel different. We tend to get a little bit sad and almost a little bit depressed, and we just feel like we have that darker cloud over our head. When your body is not healthy or has to work like really hard to restore, like when you're sick, your mind tends to take the hits, and the way that you see yourself and the way that you see the world shifts, even though nothing has actually changed. Like, have you ever had one of those moments where your mental state is just not good, but then you force yourself to have a good workout, you listen to really good loud music, and then by the time you're done, you're like, oh, actually, I'm fine. I'm all good. Think about people who work out regularly, where it's like a part of their lifestyle. Like, they are just happier people. They think more positively about themselves. Think about how good that post-workout feeling can be. Think about how differently your brain can start operating after a 30-minute walk outside, or how differently your brain can feel when you're eating nourishing home-cooked meals versus takeout fast food garbage every single night. The way we treat our physical body greatly impacts the way we perceive the world and the way we perceive ourselves. And so sometimes when it comes to self-love, we think we need to be doing all the things, when in reality, sometimes we just have to get ourselves to go to the gym or take a long walk every day. When I started to prioritize my physical health, my mental health and the way I viewed myself naturally started to shift in a more positive way without me doing anything else. So this is a very actionable, practical tip that I don't want you to miss. The more that you start taking care of yourself so that your body and your brain can thrive, and so those dark clouds over your head can go away, the easier self-love will be. Self-love is the catalyst to getting everything you want in life. It is the ultimate expansion tool. You don't need to hate yourself in order to become a better version of yourself. You can choose to love yourself through that process. And isn't that such a wonderful thing? Think about how much more peaceful that feels. I hope you guys got some value out of this video. If you did, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. And comment down below. Leave your thoughts. I would love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will catch you next time. Bye.